Good morning to you. This is just going to be a short video now, and it's just done for a bit of fun. Now this is a Gibson ES 140 or 145 short scale, like a ES 175, but it's not Gibson. It's a Chinese copy, and I picked it up thinking that I could transform this and get it to play really well, but I couldn't. It was a complete load of rubbish. So before we even start, I'm going to recommend you stay well from them. You can get the odd one that's half decent, but generally they're not. Out of the thousands and thousands they sell. Now, everything was wrong with it. It wouldn't stay in tune. The sound was atrocious. The electric was atrocious. The fretting, none of the frets was glued in, and the slots was cut too wide, so they were loose. But the attraction is that they've got Gibson on the headstock, or Fender on the headstock, whatever it is, whatever you particularly fancy. So I decided to have a go at transforming this guitar with no expense spared. I was lucky enough that I had nearly all the materials in the workshop, so it wasn't going to cost me an arm and leg to try and turn it around. So the only thing I left on this guitar is this tailpiece. I changed the bridge. The bridge that I put on there came off my Gibson Les Paul. I had hand mount pickups made by my friend from Simon from Curly Oak Pickups. I changed all the electrics, including the knobs, to CTS switchcraft switch. I've refretted it with Dunlop 5100 frets, I think it is. I changed the nut, made a bone nut. I took the Cobby Grover tuners off there, and I put a set of Clusons on that I had. And it was still rubbish. It was just unplayable. It was horrible. It felt horrible. The finish is so thin. I rubbed through the neck in no time at all. It's just, so I decided I was going to revert back to plan B, and my plan B was that I was going to convert it. So even though this guitar looks like a guitar, it is a guitar, but it don't play like a guitar. So now it's a piece of furniture, and I will zoom the camera out a little bit now to show you. So now it's a light. So what I've done, I took all the good components back off and put the original Chinese ones back on. So this is the original bridge. These are old pots now in the back, except for this one. This is a dimmer switch, a 240 volt dimmer switch. The pickups I've taken off. The Curly Oak ones, I've removed them. These are now junction boxes for all the electrics, and as you can see by here, there's a little receiver here. So the headstock there is a lamp, an industrial style lamp on there, and this is a little remote control, and there's some LEDs inside. Now you can change the colour if you want to do whatever, but the orange works quite well with the colour of the body. I made a hardwood guitar stand out of beech, and everything then was bolted to this, so that this is a floor standing lamp in the style of a Gibson ES guitar, and it looks pretty cool, I think. It looks great in the studio, and it looks great in the living room. We've had it in the living room for the last couple of weeks. So what I'll do now, I'll flip the guitar around to show you. So at the back of the guitar, you can see there's a 240 volt socket outlet. There's a 2-inch piece of solid beech by here, and that was routed out for me to be able to fit the back box. So this socket outlet now is feeding the LEDs, and the So which is switched off, and the 240 lamp. I used vintage braided cable to finish it off. Looks really cool. Also on the back there is the two USB socket outlets, and they are 5 volt 2.1 amps. To get all the LEDs inside and some of the internal wiring, the two pickups are now acting as junction boxes. But I had to drill 2 holes in the back of the body to feed the cables through. But then I was going to blank them off, just like you would do on the back of a normal guitar with a bit of black scratch plate material. But what happened, by sheer chance, I drilled the hole the same size as a 35mm camera filter lens. So these are actually coke-in filters. They are either a red or an orange graduate, I can't remember now. So they look pretty cool inside. In fact, I think there's one of each on there. This is more red on this side, and that's more orange. And they look pretty cool as well. Now, turn it back around here. So my take on these Chinese guitars, and I've worked on lots of them over the years. I've worked on mostly Fender and Gibson, a couple of Gretschers, one Martin type acoustic, and apart from one Gibson, they were all rubbish. There's just no sense in buying them whatsoever, other than that you won the name on the headstock, because they normally average out about £250 to £300, and you can get a good guitar nowadays for that. You can get an Harley Benton, nothing wrong with them Harley Bentons. You can get a Squire. You can certainly get a really good Squire Deluxe for around the 250 mark. For a little bit less, you'll get the Silver Series. And only yesterday in an auction, I seen an 80s Silver Series go through for £250. Great guitar for the money. So I wouldn't advise anybody to buy one of these guitars. You need to have a bit of ability about you to flip them and try and get them to play, but this one wouldn't play at all. It was nonsense, absolute rubbish. But now it's a functional object that I will use. It looks great in the studio. It's a bit of a talking piece when it's in the living room. People will come in and see it and wonder what the hell's going on. You can dim the lights in the LEDs if you want, or you can increase them, change the colour of them, have them flashing, whatever. But I thought I'd do that just to show you how it turned out. So the cost wise, to put this into a decorative item, the guitar cost me £250. The cable cost me about £7. The socket at £7. The LEDs was £15, and the dimmer switch was £4. The overhead light was £25. So I'm into it just under £290, and I think it's pretty cool for that. I'm happy with it. I knew I was going to be doing this, but I did think, mind, that I could have improved the guitar and had it playing, because from the front it looks really nice. The finish is just ultra thin. But anyway, I think so. What I'll do now, I'll get the camera and I'll give you a little tour around it. And Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little video on this conversion. I never ever expected this Chinese guitar to play well, and I always had this intention of converting it to a floor lamp. I'm really pleased with it. So I may sell it. I've spoke to Luke at Gardens Hallgate about it, the finest guitar auctions in Europe, by the way, and I may shove it through the auctions. It'll cause a bit of interest, I think. So this year's guitar build has fallen a little bit behind. It's on the bench behind me. It's a vintage Jaguar with grandad duties and family matters. I've fallen way behind this year with the build, but that'll be finished now in the next fortnight, and I start the editing and get that out on YouTube too. I've also got another video planned. I tend to use a fretting mallet or hammer to put my frets in. Some people use a fret press, and I've made 2-3 of them over the years, but I've been toying with this idea of making one which is bench mounted. It'll be more accurate and more stable. I only use it to hold the frets in place while the glue is going off, and I use super glue, so it takes a couple of seconds, about 20 seconds, something like that. So that'll be another video of this on the cards. So anyway, all I got to say to you now is I thank you very much for sticking with me, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.